Welcome to the channel. This is Wanda. Thank you so much for tuning in. I decided to do a video today and I wanted to share with you an experience that I had back in the States in America when I was going to church there. I was going to a church. I want to tell you this, share this experience that I had with you. Let's see. Let me get this things together here. Thought I had it together before I turned the I think that's okay. I wanted to share with you the experience that I had when I visit. I used to go to this church, right? So um, this confirms the fear of the Most High God. This confirms the fear that we all should have when we think about the Most High God. Yes, He does not give us a spirit of fear, but we should have a fear, like a reverence, a kind of reverence type of fear, like a reverence for him. So this is what happened. I was in this church, right? So it was an elder lady that I see all the time, and she was very like fashionable. So one day I'm in church, and she and her husband used to be at like the altar when people needed prayer. They would be like standing at the altar to pray for people if they wanted to come up for prayer and salvation and stuff like that. So our older lady, older black lady. So one day, I was living in Colorado Springs, and it gets really cold there. So the people there are not really, they don't really like people to see people in fur coats, because a lot of the people in Colorado are more like nature lovers. Like they like to be out in nature, the mountains and the snow and so the fur coats and minks and all that. That's usually for the East Coast, like New York, New Jersey. I notice a lot more people wear those type of coats there. But in Colorado, you don't really see people wearing those as much because they're just like animal lovers. And so I know people would say that when certain people would see individuals like mink or fur coats, they would take paint and throw it on the coat. So I had heard that and seen some videos of that before, right? So I go to church, and this woman, she came to church, and she had on I think she had on a fur coat. She had on a fur coat or mink coat, one of them. And so I told her, I said, yeah, I like your coat. I said, you ain't scared that these people gonna throw some paint on your coat? And she said, I wish the HELL they would. She said the word. We're in church now. And I looked at her in shock. I looked at her in shock. And then she said it again. I wish the HELL they would. I was so scared. When I was growing up, the elders used to say that if you do evil, like if you do wicked evil stuff, then lightning can come from your sky, and the Most High can send lightning from the sky and strike you dead on the spot. Right? They used to tell us that growing up. I used to hear that all the time. You better stop. You better stop doing that. Blasphemy and God, or you say something, or you do something, lightning gonna come from the sky. He gonna strike you dead. Right? When she said that in church, y'all, that's how I felt. I was like, I was scared. I was scared, even though I didn't say it. She said it, but when she said it, I had never heard that before. Somebody curse like that in church, and I was so scared that lightning was gonna come through that building and strike. She was standing right next to me. I thought that lightning was gonna come through that church building and strike her dead, and I was like right there, and I was so scared. I started praying. It wasn't me. Started praying under my breath, like, Father, that was not me. That was not me. Like I had to make sure He knew it wasn't me. Right? Ooh, that really. I had never experienced something like that. Somebody curse in church like that, right? And I was really shocked because, like I said, she and her husband would be at the front for prayer and for people for salvation and stuff like that. So when that happened, it confused me so much, and I was just so confused about the lady. So whenever I would see her, I would just watch her, because I don't know, I just couldn't believe that she had that kind of boldness to curse in church, you know. And y'all, this is so sad. Like some months later, her husband had like a massive stroke. This was some months later, maybe a year later. Her husband had a massive stroke, and they had announced that they won't be in church because the husband had like a massive stroke and he was in the hospital. So everybody was praying for him and everything. And she was, she was just coming to church, and she was telling people about his condition and all that, Um, and it kind of humbled her because she used to have a real kind of like a bossy type of attitude. She was really bossy and over. She was like bossy over her husband. She was bossy, and she was very kind of loud spoken, like loud spoken. Like he's kind of loud, like bossy and kind of loud spoken. Talk real loud and just attitude-ish. And so this did humble her because when her husband had the stroke, he was in the hospital. Was humble herself. She humbled herself, and so everybody was praying for him, and then he ended up passing away. And so that was really sad. And then I ended up leaving that church. And then I found out some I found out some months later that she fell ill, and she like with cancer or something like that. And she was so bad that her family had to come to get her and move her to live with where they were because her husband was taking care of her. He was like the breadwinner. He was providing for her. So when he passed away, it's like she had to learn how to do, because they was together for a long time. She had to try to learn to do things, and then when she fell ill, they had to come and get her and take her back to leave Colorado and take her back to where her family was from, which was sad because Colorado was her home. They had been living there for years, but I think her kids and her family, or whatever, kids were grown, they lived out in another state. So all of this I want to share with you to say we have to be careful and mindful of our behavior, because I never forgot that she said that. I never, even through all that stuff she was going through, it never left my mind when she cursed like that in church, so boldly and so outwardly and so not even quiet. She was loud. She said it so loud that I had to look around to see if anybody was looking, because she didn't whisper it. She said the curse word out loud. So I'm like, I don't want nobody to think, well, that was me. So yeah, it was something I had never experienced. But yeah, and to see how her and her husband ended up, it was just really sad. So we have to be very careful about how we act and even when it comes to being in the presence of the Father, because you can be in His presence outside of church, but it was just the worst. You're being supposedly in like the church house or the tabernacle, and you are acting like that. So yeah, I feel like she kind of got struck down, but it's crazy because I was watching the whole thing, and it was like it was like a slow deterioration, and to make it so bad, after she cursed, she was still going up to pray for people and for salvation. It had me confused because I'm like, what kind of person is this? And then when I saw her life decline like that, and her stuff, is everything just went down so quickly. So we have to be very careful how we conduct ourselves. And if we say that we believe in the uncreated creator, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we say we believe in him, we have to reflect that. We can't, especially if we call ourselves being like ministers, or we call ourselves being leaders in the church or something like that. We have to examine our lives and examine ourselves, because that's scary. You don't want to fall, like elders, you say, you don't want to fall into the hands of an angry God. So we don't want to put ourselves in that position, because how the Father sees death, he don't see death the way we see death. We see death as, some of us, we don't want to pass, and we want to live a long time. We see it as kind of a fearful, unknown thing, but he don't see it the same way we see it. So we have to live our lives a certain way, and we have to respect, and honor him in our behavior and how we act, what we do, what we say, and everything like that. That's just my perspective on the spiritual side of, um, living our lives. So yeah, I just wanted to share that experience of what happened to that lady in such a short period of time. It's like all that happened within 2 or 3 years after she said what she said in church. So yeah, and I was able to witness it. So I was like, wow, it actually scared me straight. It scared me straight. Not that I would ever say anything like that, but I was afraid. I was afraid when she did it. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to view my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up. Hit on the notification bell or button to be notified. So whenever I do a new video, you'll be notified. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.